Hey everyone, this is Laura Gadenik with Laura Gadenik Astrology, and I'm here to give you the update for the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2020. And I'm going to share my screen again so that you can see the chart. Okay, so here we are on, this is the first major transit is happening on May 20th, which is a Wednesday. And what's happening is we have the sun right here. You can see that it is at 0 degrees of Gemini. So it's moving into Gemini on this day. And Gemini is what's called a mutable sign. So this means that it is the ending of a season, it's the ending of spring. And mutable signs are, because it's the ending of a season, there's this sense of flexibility and adaptability and changeability to them. It's a very flexible season. I'm talking about Gemini sun signs or Gemini rising signs. But in general, this is a time period of flexibility, of endings, um, of things being apt to change. Um, Gemini is also an air sign, so it's a very social sign. You might have a heightened need or desire to socialize and to connect and to have that buddy with you by your side. Gemini is the sign of the twins. And so there's the type of socializing or relationship that Gemini is associated with is the sibling relationship. And so you might, have a tendency during this time to want to have a buddy by your side at all times, or wanting to, hang out with your friends and wanting to play. And how siblings can get in those kind of um, like playful, silly fights. This could be a time where those types of situations come up um, in friendships, or if you have siblings, then with your siblings. But this is a time period of curiosity, of lightness, of playfulness, and of being social. And also, I think I mentioned curious, but also um, mischievous. So playing tricks and wanting to play games and kind of wanting to do things that are light and breezy and fun and not too heavy or serious. So that's just kind of a general theme for the sun moving into Gemini. We also have Venus, who's retrograde, making an exact square again to Neptune and Pisces. This is the second square that's happening. The last one happened like last week, I believe, or the week before. I mean, Venus has been pretty much in a tight square with Neptune for the past week at least. I mean, she stationed retrograde at 21 degrees of Gemini and has been sitting there all week. And so this isn't super new. It just means that it's exact. And on Wednesday, it might feel maybe a little bit more intensified, this feeling of romanticizing or idealizing or glamorizing relationships of all kinds. It can be a really fun and romantic and dreamy time, especially with someone you're with or dating, or someone you're interested in. Can be super it can involve art, so there can be a sense of having artistic ideas, and really allowing yourself to dream of what's possible, of what the potential is with regards to creative pursuits or creative projects that might involve Gemini themes. So being very witty and playful and light, and maybe involving words, because Gemini rules over communication. Um, good time period to do creative writing and write poetry and explore your dreams and do some automatic writing, things like that, things involving the mind. But so while it can be very romantic and idealistic and beautiful, and things might even just seem really beautiful at this time, be careful of disappointment or disillusionment. Neptune is the great deceiver, and things don't always appear, um, or things don't always seem as they appear. There's kind of um, like kind of a veil before your eyes with this aspect. a sense of having rose-colored glasses on. And this is going to continue throughout the week, this feeling, because Venus is still, she just stationed retrograde like last week, and she's moving really slowly, and so she's pausing at this point in the sky, around 20 degrees of Gemini for a little bit, and she'll be moving very slowly, so that square will be in effect for a while. So just be aware of it and have fun with it, and don't take things too seriously at this time because of the potential for disappointment. Um, let's see. So that's a Wednesday the 20th. Okay, let's go to Friday, but I'm gonna move by hours, I think. Okay, almost. Okay, so you can kind of see that. Here we go. Let's see if I can move this. So on Friday, May 22nd, and this is mountain time, by the way, because I am based in Salt Lake City, we have a new moon in Gemini. New moon is when the sun and the moon meet at the same point, the same degree in the sky, and this is happening at 2 degrees of Gemini. And new moons are times of beginnings, they're times of planting seeds, they're times of setting intention, and sometimes they're times of emotional blind spots, because anytime a planet is within 1 degree of the sun's light takes over and totally kind of overshines that other planet. And so sometimes the qualities of the planet that is within the degree of the sun are blotted out or unseen or hidden or not recognized in some way. Um, so there could be some type of emotional blind spot as well to look out for with regards to Gemini qualities, and we have to kind of remember there's a sign-based square happening between Gemini and Neptune over here in Pisces. So definitely potential for a lot of hopefulness, and a lot of belief and excitement about something, but potentially um, being disillusioned or feeling like you're not seeing something clearly, or feeling like something's hidden or kind of not super clear. Um, but in general, for this new moon, a time of setting intention and of new beginnings, this is a time that we can plant seeds with regards to communication, because Gemini is a sign about communication and words and playfulness with words. How do you want to get your ideas across? These are kind of some ideas to reflect upon. Where can you get more curious and less judgmental? Gemini is a very curious sign and is pretty non-judgmental for the most part. Um, how can you become more playful? Once again, Gemini being a very playful sign because it's the sign of the siblings, and there's a very playful kind of mischievous quality to the sign. So just some ideas of what to ponder this upcoming week, as you may want to set some intentions for the new moon and be aware of the potential blind spot emotionally. We also have at this time a conjunction between Venus and Mercury in Gemini as well. So we have a lot of Gemini action. And, this new moon is actually um, pretty important, especially if you're a Gemini rising sign or if you're a Gemini sun sign. Um, and because the ruler of this new moon in Gemini is actually Mercury. Mercury is the planet that rules over the sign of Gemini, and Mercury is in his own sign, and so he's really strong here. But the thing to kind of watch out for is because Mercury is conjoining Venus, there's that same square to Neptune and Pisces. And remember, squares are kind of full of the little tension and strife and conflict and challenge, and there's like a dynamic quality to squares. Squares are I think I don't know if I said 90 degrees between two planets. Every sign has 30 degrees in it. So this is exactly 90 degrees. And Mercury being the planet of our minds, our thoughts, our communication style, how we exchange ideas with other people, and Venus being the sign of love and beauty and romance and things that are pleasurable and leisure and art. Um, Venus wants to unite and attract. She wants to make peace, she wants to be diplomatic, and she wants to bring people together rather than apart. And so with with the square to Neptune, there's kind of similar themes with the Venus square that I just mentioned to Neptune that's happening on Wednesday. But now we add in Mercury, which adds in the mind or communication components. So this is a day and definitely a time. Probably you'll be feeling this throughout the week, throughout this whole week, and also a few days after Friday. So it's not over on Friday. But this is kind of the peak or the pinnacle. But there'll be a quality of seeing, thinking, and feeling with rose-colored glasses on. Um, be careful of being too much in fantasy land. It could be a really beautiful time. Everything might seem beautiful, otherworldly, and glamorous, and it's a really great day for things like creative writing, um, anything involving the mind, maybe exploring your dreams if you're into that. Um, connecting with loved ones or with people of romantic interest, or someone you're in a relationship with, connecting via words. This could be a really nice time of connecting from the heart and feeling heard and validated by the other person, and really kind of there's that mergy quality always whenever Neptune is involved and Venus, the planet of love. So there could be this like really this sense of intellectual merging, that that person really understands you and you understand them, and you feel kind of at one. um, and it can be really beautiful. um, so great day for connecting with loved ones, going on a date, enjoying yourself, and connecting via talking, anything verbal or written. um, but be careful of being in fantasy land. Be careful of that potential for disillusionment or disappointment, um, or lost hopefulness. um, yeah, just be aware that there's this influence happening and things might not be the way that they appear to be. Um, Not a good time for clear thinking or for detailed thinking or for working, really. Venus is a planet that really likes to work. Great time for creativity in all forms, but not, if it's like creativity and working, like if those things are combined, if you do some sort of creative work, then that's fine. But if it's like you have, a job or work, like detailed tasks like cleaning or doing paperwork, or things involving numbers, I would say probably not the best energy for that. You can do it, but it just won't be very pleasant, and you probably will make a lot of mistakes. So um, and be careful of mind altering substances and overdoing it. You might have a glass of wine and enjoy yourself and eat some chocolate and, have a beer or whatever it is that you like to do, but there's definitely potential to go overboard um, and pay the consequences the next day. So just be mindful of that energy, but also take advantage of it. And yeah, that's my advice for that. And that's actually the only aspects for the week. Not super. There's not too many, but they're pretty intense. And this whole, collection of planets in Gemini, with this whole Mercury Venus conjunction making this square to Neptune, like I said, this is really going to be very impactful for people who are Gemini rising or Gemini sun, or if you have Gemini on the angles. So the angles are the first house, the fourth house, the seventh house, and the 10th house. And this, it'll be impactful and for other people regardless of what your rising sign is, but it'll be more impactful if you have personal planets also, especially around the degrees of 20, or maybe the degrees of like 18 to 22 degrees of Gemini. This, you'll definitely feel this. Or if you have any personal planets between the degrees of 18 to 22 degrees of Pisces, or 18 to 22 degrees of Virgo, or 18 to 22 degrees of Sagittarius. And that's because this aspect will be making hard angles to those placements, hard angles being oppositions or squares. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today, and I'll be back next week for another update, and I'd love to know how the week goes for you if you feel like commenting and letting me know. All right. Well, have a good rest of your week. Okay.